Today, we're talking about why trading is exactly like surfing, and why most traders fail because they're out there splashing around like idiots instead of waiting for the wave. You don't make money in trading. You allow money to happen when conditions line up. That alone pisses people off. Everyone comes into trading thinking they're going to force results, force profitability, force consistency, force a green day. That mindset is why they get destroyed. Now imagine surfing. You don't paddle out in the ocean yelling, "All right, boys, I need a wave right now, rent's due." The ocean does not care. The ocean is not listening. The ocean will humble you. Trading is exactly the same way. The market doesn't owe you a setup. It doesn't care that you almost had one yesterday. The wave shows up when it shows up. Your job is to be ready, not desperate. And most traders, they're desperate. They paddle at every ripple. Every little move looks like this could be it. Every candle becomes this might run. And the next thing you know, they're exhausted, underwater, and wondering why trading feels hard. It's because they're trying to surf chop. Not every wave is surfable. Not every market condition is tradable. But retail traders don't want to accept that because waiting feels like doing nothing, and doing nothing feels like losing. So they invent reasons to trade. That's not analysis. That's impatience wearing a disguise. A professional surfer doesn't paddle nonstop. They sit, they watch, they feel the rhythm. They're reading the ocean, the swell direction, the wave spacing, the speed, the shape. They're not guessing. They're waiting for alignment. A professional trader does the same thing. They're not staring at the chart hoping. They're observing. Context, liquidity, timing, volatility. They're waiting for their wave. They think patience means being passive. It doesn't. Patience is active restraint. It's sitting there with capital, discipline, and a plan, choosing not to act until the market earns your risk. That takes more skill than clicking buy. Anyone can paddle. Very few can wait without panicking. The best traders don't trade often. They trade well. If you watch your own journal, you'll probably see it. Your biggest wins, they didn't come from frantic clicking. They came from clean, obvious, almost boring setups. Those were waves. Everything else is whitewater. And every time you tried to force a trade, you weren't being aggressive. You were being out of sync. You were trying to surf a wave that wasn't yours. That's why trading feels random when you're early in your journey, because you're not synced to the market yet. You haven't learned when not to paddle. Until you do, you'll confuse activity with progress. So if this week felt slow, if price felt choppy, if you felt itchy and restless, good. That means the ocean was flat. The flat days aren't meant to be conquered. They're meant to be respected. Because the traders who survive aren't the ones who force waves. They're the ones who stay dry until the right one rolls in. Being early is often worse than being wrong. In surfing, if you paddle too late, you miss the wave. That sucks, but you're fine. If you paddle too early, you gas yourself out, you get dragged, you lose position, and now when the real wave shows up, you're cooked. That's exactly how most traders operate. They don't wait for the wave to actually form. They see the idea of a wave, a little movement, a small push, one candle that looks promising, and they start paddling like their life depends on it. You enter before displacement, before confirmation, before the market is committed to anything. You're not trading price, you're trading hope. And hope is exhausting because when you're early, nothing resolves cleanly. Price chops, it hesitates, it pulls back just enough to make you doubt yourself. You're not wrong yet, but you're not right either. So now you're stuck, watching every tick, adjusting stops, talking yourself into staying in. That mental drain, that's the cost of being early. Professional surfers wait until the wave stands up, until it shows its face, until gravity is doing the work, not them. Retail traders want to predict the wave before it exists. They want a top tick. They want to be the first one in. They want the perfect entry. They want bragging rights. But the market doesn't pay for prediction. It pays for confirmation. And confirmation always feels late to impatient people. That's the paradox. The best trades often feel boring until they're obvious. And by the time they're obvious, amateurs think it's too late. So they try to front run. They try to outsmart. They try to catch the move at the lowest possible point. And what happens? They burn energy paddling into nothing. Then when the momentum actually arrives, they're emotionally drained, undersized, or already stopped out. You see this all the time. Bro, it went without me. No, it went when you were tired, because you already spent your energy on 3 fake waves. You don't get paid for catching the start of the move. You get paid for riding the middle cleanly. Surfers don't care where the wave started. They care where it carries them. Same thing in trading. The middle of the move is where structure is clean, where follow-through exists, where probability stacks. But the middle requires patience, and patience feels like doing nothing. Being early feels like effort, and effort feels productive. That's why people confuse activity with skill. They think, if I'm early, I'm smart. If I wait, I'm late. No, if you're early, you're guessing. And if you wait, you're aligning. That's a massive difference. When you force trades, you're not trusting your system. You're trying to prove something. Prove you're good. Prove you're right. Prove you see what others don't. But trading isn't about proving. Surfing isn't either. The ocean doesn't care how confident you are. And the market doesn't reward ego. It rewards timing. If you feel rushed, you're early. If you feel calm, the wave is real. Real setups don't beg you to enter, they invite you. And if you miss one, so what? There's always another setup coming. But if you exhaust yourself forcing trades, you won't be around when it does. In surfing, the best surfers aren't just floating around waiting for luck. They're constantly repositioning. They're watching the horizon. They're reading the sets. They're adjusting where they sit so when the wave does come, they don't have to scramble. Patience in trading works the exact same way. You're not waiting blindly. You're waiting prepared. You've already done the work. You know your levels. You know your conditions. You know what a valid setup looks like. So when price starts moving, you're not reacting emotionally. You're simply just checking the boxes. Most traders don't wait like that. They wait impatiently. They stare at price hoping something happens. Every small candle feels like a signal. Every tick feels like a missed opportunity. That's not patience. That's anxiety in a chair. Real patience feels boring because the decision was already made earlier. The surfer doesn't decide on the wave. He decided an hour ago where he'd sit and what kind of wave he'd take. By the time the wave shows up, the decision is automatic. That's why good traders look calm, not because they don't care, but because they already accepted every outcome before clicking buy or sell. Compare that to the average trader. They're deciding in real time. They're negotiating with price. They're constantly asking, is this it? What if this is the move? That's exhausting. Patience is power because it removes decision making from the moment of pressure. Patience creates leverage. When you wait correctly, you don't need many trades. You don't need perfect accuracy. You don't need to be glued to the screen all day. One clean wave can carry you further than 10 forced paddles. But if you're constantly trading mid-quality setups, you're always fighting chop, always paying fees, always emotionally resetting. That's why some traders feel like they're working nonstop and still going nowhere. They're surfing whitewater, busy, splashy, zero progress. The surfer who waits gets the open face, the room to breathe, the clean ride. In trading, that's your A+ setup. The one that lines up with your plan, the one that doesn't need convincing, the one that feels obvious in hindsight. And yes, it might take hours, sometimes days, sometimes a full session of nothing. But that's not wasted time. That's positioning. You're conserving capital. You're conserving focus. You're preserving confidence. Because nothing wrecks confidence faster than forcing trades that never had a real edge. You don't burn out from losing. You burn out from trying too hard. Patience keeps you in the game long enough for probability to work. Surfing teaches you humility. Trading does too. You don't control the ocean. You don't control the market. All you control is where you sit, when you paddle, and when you don't. And ironically, the more comfortable you are with not trading, the better your trading becomes. Because when the wave finally comes, you're rested, you're ready, and you don't hesitate. Trading is surfing. You don't win by paddling nonstop. You win by waiting for the right wave and having the discipline to ignore everything else. Most traders fail not because they're bad at entries, but because they're allergic to waiting. If you try to force waves, you get dragged. If you respect the ocean, it carries you. So stop trying to make something happen. Let the market come to you. Your job isn't to trade every day. Your job is to be ready on the day it matters. Sit on your hands, wait for the wave, and when it comes, don't hesitate. That's how traders last. That's how accounts grow. And that's how you stop drowning in chop and start riding clean moves.